911, what is the address of your emergency?
It's not really an emergency. I'm a manager at Plank Road McDonald's out here on the boulevard.
Okay.
And I have a customer here that some other customers were suspicious of, that he looks like the CEO shooter from New York.
Okay.
So they're just really upset, and they're like coming to me, and I was like, well, I can't approach him, you know?
No, of course not.
Luigi Mangione back as a trending topic this morning. He's due in court today. Prosecutors for the federal government are slamming his defense team in a motion for, quote, meritless claims made against the United States Attorney General. Federal prosecutors are saying that, quote, misleading statements about Pam Bondi's ties to a lobbying firm are, quote, assumptions made by the defense as they're trying to get the death penalty taken off the table. Mangione's defense team says Bondi's decision is tainted, saying that her past lobbying work creates a, quote, profound conflict of interest with her connection to Ballard Partners, a company whose clients included United Healthcare's parent company. But in a recent court filing, Deputy Manhattan U.S. Attorney Sean Buckley pushed back, saying the defendant's narrative collapses under the weight of his own assumptions. No present or future financial gain exists. There is no conflict. So the burning question is, will the death penalty stay on the table? Remember, he's got two cases going, one in federal court, one in state court, and it is the federal government who's pursuing the death penalty. But what's kind of interesting is that the state case, everyone has decided, will go first. So let's talk about this. Let's bring in two former prosecutors. I have with me Attorney David Bruno and Attorney Stuart Ryan. Stu was one of the prosecutors on a very high-profile case. I know you at home know about it. Case against Bill Cosby. He put him away, did a fine job. I got to watch him in action. And Stu, we've missed you. We haven't seen you in a while. So welcome back to the program. I know you're busy in the private sector now, but it's great to have you and David here to weigh in on this case. So Stu, I'll start with you. Where do you think the federal government's going to land with that big decision as to whether to continue to pursue capital punishment for this guy?
Good morning, Julie. It's good to see you again. And I'll be honest with you, I think the federal government has problems, and they're very technical problems, but the defense team in this case has scored big victories raising technical issues before. And so first and foremost, you have the decision about whether or not stalking, which is the predicate offense for this capital punishment scheme, is going to qualify as a violent offense under the federal statute. And this is not a situation where there's a list of crimes that qualify. Rather, it's based on elements. Perhaps the more concerning issue for the federal government is, as you know, Julie, from your time as a prosecutor, any crime has different subsections, and you're going to be dealing with the potential for a variety of different types of conduct to qualify as an offense. The federal government here charged him with stalking based on actually placing this CEO in the fear of injury or harm. And as we know, this was really just an assassination. The CEO had no idea that he was being stalked or that violence was coming his way. And the federal government chose to charge a particular subsection when others were available under that stalking statute. And I think that's going to be another really technical but critical problem for the government when it comes to capital punishment.
Stu, that's really sharp analysis you just gave us. A follow-up for you, please. Do you think that the prosecutors may have to do some amendments on that federal indictment?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible, and I would even say advisable. And again, you'll see what the federal judge is going to do. You expect any judge, especially federal judges, to be hyper technical. And that's why on this conflict issue, I think it's much less of a problem. But when you're dealing with the capital punishment, these are looked at with really close scrutiny. And again, I would expect a federal judge to apply strict standards. An amendment may be necessary.
Yeah, Stu, thank you for all that really helpful insight. David, let me turn to you now with what we can expect to happen today as both sides are going to be back in that federal courtroom. This motion that was just filed and packs a lot of punch from the federal government has come before everyone. Do you think it's going to be taken up by the court today?
Yeah, I think we're going to hear something from the court, but let's lay it out here. I mean, Pam Bondi had employment prior to the DOJ. That was with Ballard Partners. Ballard Partners had lobbying contracts with United Healthcare in 2024 and 2025. When she was sworn in, she stopped all compensation with Ballard Partners. And there's a letter, an ethics letter that was required. She said she wouldn't handle any matters with Ballard Partners or its clients when they are a party. And that's the clear distinction that the government's going to be arguing, is that Ballard Partners or United Healthcare is not a party to this matter. This is the government versus Luigi Mangione. So that's really the big distinction that the government's going to argue. The Mangione's attorney is going to say, hey, look, there's still an appearance of impropriety. But I think the government's going to be okay on this issue as well. Julie, this case is like a law school exam, actually. You know, there's so many issues of search and seizure where we're talking about federal versus PA state or New York state. There's dual prosecutions. This is fascinating when it comes to legal analysis.
Yeah, appreciate it, David. And so this hearing will be Mangione's first trip to the Manhattan Federal Courthouse since his April 25th arraignment. We're also expecting to be taken up today his bid to exclude certain evidence from the case. And the judge presiding over the case, her name is Judge Margaret Garnett. She also has indicated she plans to set a trial date for the federal case. So a lot could happen this morning. Stu, back to you. Do you find it unusual that the state case has been the one decided to go first and the federal case to follow it?
I think that really can depend on the situation. Obviously, in this case, he was charged at the state level first prior to being indicted in federal court. Now, typically at the same time, federal prosecutions, and you get that sense by the judge saying that she's going to set a trial date today, tend to move, pardon me, much more quickly. They're under what you know we all used to call rocket dockets, that you get indicted and then a trial is set and you go to trial. So in that sense, it's a little surprising that the state case is scheduled to go forward first. And look, who knows? There was obviously an extensive series of hearings about suppression at the state court level, and delays may be inevitable in that case as a result. So I think it also really remains to be seen about which case ends up going forward first.
All right, Stu, thank you for that. One last thing that has a lot of people talking, the place where Luigi Mangione is detained has a lot of infamous people. So we're keeping track of who's housed there at the Metropolitan Detention Center. So far, we got some very notable inmates. Luigi Mangione, Nicolas Maduro is also there. Sam Bankman-Fried's there. Martin Shkreli is there. Ghislaine Maxwell's there. And so is Sean Diddy Combs. Of course, we wonder, will they run into one another there? David Bruno, what do you say?
I'll tell you what, that institution has its hands full, obviously. High-profile nature of those inmates also brings a number of security risks involved. So that list is astonishing. It also brings a number of logistical and institutional problems for that particular jail.
Appreciate it. Great conversation with you both. David Bruno, Stuart Ryan, thank you both so much. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, here's what's next.